Hello, everybody. Eric Bischoff here. Once again, attempting this cross-platform streaming software. I think I'm getting the hang of it. I know I'm getting to know the people in the Help Center really, really well. They're trying, but it's tough. Okay, I've got nothing according to my producer to my right. So I'm going to ask her to check on Facebook and see if we're over there. In the meantime, I'm preparing to head to New Orleans. I'm going to have a lot of fun at WrestleMania weekend. Going to be making some appearances there Friday and Saturday. I'll be with Damage 365 Radio and a whole bevy of beautiful divas. We'll be signing autographs, taking pictures, and having fun. Looking at my producer, and so far, okay, we've got Facebook. Apparently, we don't have Twitter or Periscope. So I'm going to make this pretty quick. Live announcement coming up tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. Yes, indeed, we are going to have another Easy Does It Live, completely Q&A. That's right. You ask the questions. I'll do my best to answer them. Occasionally, if the opportunity presents itself, I may indeed I have a question of my own. I may be asking that of you. Lori, I'm good. She was having so much fun watching me work, she decided to stay there and produce. But she's got things to do. All right, a couple things I wanted to talk to you about today. I'm not going to get into Q&A today. We're going to save that for Wednesdays. There's only so many questions I can answer. There's only so many ways I can answer them. So today I'm just going to stick to a couple topics. Hopefully we're going to get this show done in about 18 minutes. Why 18 minutes? I don't know. Just pick the number. Felt like it. 18 felt like a good number. So that's what we're going to go with. Hold on one second here. I'm going to set my clock to 18 minutes. And then we're going to get this show on the road. Okay. We're good. So here's 3 things I want to talk about today. And I know I am supposed to not talk about politics. I've been advised of that by so many people that I know in the industry here. Do not talk about politics here. Wrestling fans don't want to hear about politics. So I'm going to do my best not to talk about politics. But what I am going to talk about at the end of the show is my take on the lack of traditional promotion that John Cena and The Undertaker have engaged in so far on Monday Night Raw. We know that John Cena called out The Undertaker, but so far, radio silence. Kind of dead, so to speak, pun intended. But we're going to talk about that in more detail. That's going to be coming up at the end of the show. The other thing I want to talk about is all of the things that are going on inside of the world of streaming as it relates to professional wrestling. You know, one of the questions that I get all the time is, you know, Eric, do you think, you know, that we're ever going to see another golden era of professional wrestling, whatever golden era means to certain people? And the answer to that is, yeah, I do. But I think it's going to be different than what we're used to. And it's going to be different primarily because streaming has become such a major part of the way that people get their entertainment. And that's created a lot of opportunity. And we're going to talk about some of the people that are taking advantage of that and where that may be going in the future. But now I want to get into the opening part of the show. There's 3 segments here, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, because any of you who know me or who have ever worked with me know that I believe in a 3-act structure. I believe in a beginning and a middle and an end. So that's what we're going to do here on this 18-minute version. We got 16 minutes left of Easy Does It Live. Since I'm not going to talk about politics, but I am going to talk about something that it came to my attention recently. Actually, it's come to my attention for the last couple of years, mostly because of my wife, Lori. She's a holistic nutritionist. She spends a lot of time learning and researching about the best way to get your nutrients and the best diets to have and the right way to prepare your food and all of that great stuff. And really for the last, well, probably 20 years is when it all started. But really, over the last 4 or 5 years, she's really immersed herself into that world. She's attended the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts. She's really done a lot of work and research in this area. And because of her influence on me, I've started paying attention more to what I eat. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about sugar and all the different names that manufacturers use for sugar. And I actually have a list. Where did my list go? It's right over here. I have a list. 56 different names for sugar. Now, this is going to go somewhere, okay? At the end of this, you're going to understand why I'm talking about sugar or the 56 different names. Clearly, food manufacturers want to fool you. They don't want you to know how much sugar is in the food that you eat. And why? Because sugar kills you. Sugar is horrible for you. There's a lot of people, and I'm not here, this is not I don't want to preach, and I don't want to try to convince you to change the way you're eating, but there is a lot of research out there that will tell you and show you, if you choose to look for it, that sugar is, cancer feeds off sugar. That's right, cancer feeds sugar. And if you think about it, when you go to the store, and I do this from time to time, I'll go into any grocery store. It doesn't matter which one it is. I'll go to any grocery store, and I'll stand in line watching people eat. Watching people check out, I should say. Hopefully they're not eating in the grocery store. And you look inside, what's inside of their cart, and it's kind of horrific, really, especially if they have kids, because it's all processed food. There's very little natural food in there. It's all processed, prepackaged food, and it's all just laden with sugar. But here's the catch. There are some people who want to eat healthy, right? They know that sugar's bad for you. They know that it makes you fat. They know that it gives you diabetes. They know that some people know that it feeds cancer. There's all kinds of horrible shit that can go wrong with you if you eat too much sugar. And most manufacturers know that. So what do? They hide the sugar. How do they hide the sugar, you ask? I'm going to tell you how they hide the sugar. They give it different names, right? Like, there's 56 of them. I'm not going to read through all 56. You'll get the point after a couple. Agave nectar. Man, that sounds good. And it sounds wholesome. Agave nectar. Got to be good for you, right? It's not. It's freaking sugar. All right? Blackstrap molasses. Now, the average person should be able to figure out that that's sugar, but you'd be surprised. Trust me. What's another one here? Diastatic malt. That sounds like a health food. Sounds like something your doctor would prescribe. Don't even get me going on what doctors prescribe. That's a whole different show. We got about 13 more minutes, so hang with me. I'll pick up on a couple more. Maltodextrin, sugar. What's another good one? Diatase. 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 Sugar. Glucose. Sugar. Barley malt. Sugar. Ethyl maltol. Sugar. Pinoca. That sounds wholesome as hell, right? That sounds like something that you'd expect to get at Panera Bread Company. Sugar. Sorghum. Sugar. Evaporated cane juice. Sugar. Malt syrup. Sugar. Sucrose. Sugar. So the point is, rather than reading all 56, manufacturers hide the fact that they're loading your food up with sugar by giving it different names. And I think that's a crime. I really do, because that's a big deal. But as I was thinking about the motivation, why do manufacturers do that? It's pretty obvious. They want to laden their product up with more sugar so that it tastes good, so you buy more of it. They don't care about the fact that you're going to end up with diabetes or worse, right? That's their motivation. But then I was thinking about what about some of the products that I use, right? Healthy products like almond milk or cashew milk. I love cashew milk. But why do they call it milk? I pondered that for a long time. And it's not because they're trying to hide anything, because it really is good for you. There's no sugar in it. There's no bad stuff in it. It really, really is good for you, because I've looked at the ingredients. My wife looked at the ingredients. And believe me, if it gets past her, it's healthy stuff. So I thought, why do they call it cashew milk or almond milk? And I figured it out. Because if they called it nut juice, no one would drink it. Can you imagine? Can you imagine your wife saying, honey, would you go to the refrigerator and see if we've got any nut juice left? Do I have to pick some up? And say, hold on, honey. I'm going upstairs. I'll check in a minute and get back to you. Right? Okay. Nut juice, almond milk, cashew milk. But it is good for you. No sugar. All right. Let's move on. That was supposed to be funny, or at least fun. Let's talk about streaming and wrestling. The next golden era of professional wrestling. WrestleMania is coming up. It is the biggest platform in the world, right? Everybody's on their way to New Orleans, whether you're an independent or a huge wrestling fan. I guarantee you I'm going to be there signing autographs Friday and Saturday at the table. Damage 365 Radio. Come look for us. Surrounded by a bevy of beauties from the wrestling world. Medusa's going to be there. A whole bunch of other people's going to be there. SoCal Val's going to be there. One of my favorite people in professional wrestling, by the way. SoCal Val. She's always fun to hang out with. But I guarantee you, I'm going to meet people from all over the world. From Saudi Arabia, from the UK, from Japan, from Korea, from Australia. I guarantee it. From France. Happens every year. People from all over the world, fans, come to wherever WrestleMania is to take in as much professional wrestling as they possibly can over a 3 or 4 day weekend. And I'm going to be there right in the middle of it, right? But one of the things that's happening, and it's really happened over the last 12 or 18 months that I've noticed in a big way, is promotions like Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore, Wrestle Circus, one of my favorite independent promotions out of Austin, Texas, really making a name for themselves on the Twitch TV platform. Now, I've been talking to the people at Twitch TV now for several weeks, and we're going to be making some big announcements about that in the future. There's a lot going on there, a lot, and we're working on the details now. But if you look at the Twitch TV platform, it is twice as big, maybe bigger, than the WWE's streaming platform. In fact, as we speak right now, as we're streaming this, probably 20% of all of the streaming downloads that are going on anywhere in the United States right now are happening on the Twitch TV platform. And primarily, Twitch has been a platform for e-gaming, from what I've learned, and it is now turning into a streaming platform for other types of content. Wrestle Circus, I believe, was one of the first wrestling promotions on Twitch. Tommy Dreamer was not far behind. And the Twitch platform provides a tremendous opportunity to reach people all over the world in a way that even great cable television might not. Because a domestic cable partner, look at Pop TV, TNA, they just really don't have much of an audience, and it doesn't exist outside of the United States. It barely exists inside of the United States, but it certainly doesn't exist outside of the United States. Even really large cable networks, Paramount TV, for example, even the USA Network, as big and successful as they are limited to the United States primarily, but Twitch is all over the world. And if you've got a show, if you've got a live event that you're promoting and you're streaming it on that platform, you're exposing your product to a ton of people. And that provides a great opportunity. So really smart promoters and producers are going to be, as time goes on and the technology gets easier to navigate, as the hardware that it takes to stream and do a great job streaming so that your product looks crisp and clean and is more or less bulletproof, as that technology and that hardware becomes more affordable and develops even further, you're going to see more and more people really producing high-quality content, live-action content like professional wrestling on the Twitch TV platform, as well as others that are evolving literally as we speak. There'll be even more opportunities. And as that happens, it means that wrestling fans around the world are going to have more to choose from. You'll not only will you be able to go to the big box, professional wrestling sports entertainment producer, which is obviously WWE, you're going to be able to find those promoters that are doing a great job streaming their product. Now, I know ROH is in syndication. Ring of Honor is not necessarily, one of the streaming promotions right now, but if you look at some of the great things that are going on in Ring of Honor, again, if you look at, like I said, at Wrestle Circus, if you look at Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore, there is a lot of great stuff that you can find now on platforms other than the traditional one. So I encourage you to support your independent promotions. Look for content on places like Twitch TV and expose yourself to some really great action. Again, I can't tell you how impressed I am with some of the great action that I'm seeing out of some of these smaller independent promotions. I truly believe that the independent wrestling movement and growth is going to have the same effect on professional wrestling that the independent music scene, the independent music scene did on music and the way people enjoy music and the effect that it had on artists. You are no longer required, if you're an artist, to depend on a label to get your music out there. You were able to do it on YouTube. You were able to do it in any number of ways, and there are a lot of people that became stars that way. So I think we're going to see the same thing in professional wrestling. There you have it. There's my take on streaming and independent wrestling. Now let's go to close up the show. Act 3. John Cena, The Undertaker. A lot of people complaining, or at least acknowledging, that there really hasn't been much promotion for John Cena and The Undertaker. I agree. There hasn't been. And at first I was a little disappointed because in my mind, as a guy that likes at least to think of myself as a producer or a writer, my initial reaction is, wow, they're missing a great opportunity. And I'm going to take you off on a little bit of a sidetrack. I actually thought when John Cena first called out The Undertaker, I thought this is perfect. This, in my mind, that storyline could have been very similar to the one. Actually, the movie was called The Shootist. It was John Wayne's last movie. I don't know if any of you remember that. I know Jim Ross will. I guarantee you Jim Ross will. But The Shootist was John Wayne's last movie, and I believe he actually had cancer during the filming of that movie. And John Wayne played an aging gunfighter who was dying. Now, I don't want to suggest that that's the case with The Undertaker and Mark Callis. That's certainly not. But the point is, he was just a battle-worn, scar-tissued, badass gunfighter that just wanted to ride off into the sunset, hang up his guns, and enjoy the rest of his life. All right? Metaphorically, that's a little bit like The Undertaker. He's been trying to retire from the wrestling business now for a long time. And here's John Cena. Now, John Cena is no upstart. He's been around for a long time himself. 2002, I believe he was a rookie. So here's John Cena, who is now the superstar of all superstars in WWE, calling out The Undertaker. Come back into the ring one more time. Even though we all thought that he retired when he folded up his gear and left it in the center of the ring last time out. That's what we all thought. But still, the story could have been there that the new superstar, the new hood ornament of WWE, calling out The Undertaker, get back into the ring one last time. There was a parallel, at least in my mind, there could have been, to that movie, The Shootist with John Wayne, and Ron Howard was also in that movie. So when it didn't happen and they didn't follow up on it, I was disappointed initially, just because it felt to me like a missed opportunity. But the more I thought about it and analyzed it from my perspective, I thought, it doesn't matter. Because what Undertaker and John Cena have, without doing anything, is story. It's already there. Everybody knows the backstory. Everybody knows that The Undertaker has been trying to retire for the last couple of years. Every time we see him, we've been told this is probably his last match. When he folded up his gear, left his boots and all of his stuff in his hat in the center of the ring, and it sat there for a couple hours while they were tearing stuff down. I mean, come on, that was the message, right? He left it all in the ring. That was the underlying message. But now he's back, or at least we think he is. So the story is already there. John Cena's calling out The Undertaker. The Undertaker's trying to retire. So the story's already there. It's built in. You have two phenomenal talents, two household brand names in the world of professional wrestling. You don't really have to tell much more of a story than that, right? There's already anticipation without doing anything. They've already created anticipation. They didn't have to do anything on Monday Night Raw to help create that anticipation. It's built in because of who they are and their existing backstory. No effort required. So they've got story, they've got anticipation, they've got reality. Come on, it's real. Undertaker wants to retire. Mark Callis probably wants to retire. He probably asks himself every morning when he gets out of bed, what the hell am I doing and why am I doing this? I can only imagine. I don't know him. I haven't talked to him about it. But I'm guessing that's probably how he feels. I'm guessing that thought crosses his mind. And you've got John Cena, and this is a little bit different. I mean, John Cena isn't the young, gunslinger that wants to take out the legend. John Cena's the babyface. John Cena wants to get in the ring with Undertaker one more time to prove to Undertaker that Undertaker can still do it. So there's no heat required. There's no antagonist, protagonist. There's no good guy. There's no bad guy. There's no heel. There's no babyface. There's John Cena. Unquestionably the lead dog in the WWE, in his own way, pressuring The Undertaker to step into the ring one more time. Not because John Cena wants it, not because John Cena needs it, because John Cena wants to prove to The Undertaker that he still has it. Come on, is that a babyface position or what? I love that. So it's got story, it's got anticipation, it's got reality. Guess what? When Undertaker walks through that curtain at WrestleMania, doubt it'll be a curtain, when he walks out on that stage at WrestleMania, it will be the same as a surprise because we haven't seen him. We haven't overexposed him. He hasn't overexposed himself. He's going to walk out, and they're going to make it seem like we're not sure if he's going to show up or not show up. And John Cena's gigantic jaw, he's got the biggest jaw I've ever seen. I actually had to slap John Cena once. I actually wrestled John Cena for the world title. And I had to see his big old jaw was hanging outside of the ring. And I had to smack him. And I thought, first of all, I don't like hitting people unless I want to knock them out, number one. Number two, I knew if I hit that jaw, there was a reasonably good chance I was going to shatter shit inside my hand. He's got the biggest jaw I've ever seen. Anyway, I digress. So we all know that when Undertaker comes out, John Cena is going to have that moment, and that gigantic freaking jaw of his is going to go, right? And the crowd's going to go wild, and we're going to have that magic moment. So we've got story, we've got anticipation, we've got reality, we've got surprise, and guess what else is undeniably going to happen? We're going to have great action. Why? Because it's The Undertaker and John Cena. So, for all of you who are pissing and moaning and complaining and whining about no Undertaker on Raw this past Monday night, guess what? Here's my advice. Shut the F up. Don't worry about it. Get the pay-per-view and enjoy it because it's going to be a magic moment. And you have all of the ingredients you need. You will have Sarsa. Story, anticipation, reality, surprise, and action because this is a very unique situation that just didn't need a lot of build-up. So there you have it. Anyway. It's close to my 18 minutes. We're done. No Q&A today. I'm going to save that, like I said, for tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. By the way, check out my good buddy, Jonathan Coachman. He's coming up tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern here on Periscope and Twitter, and I believe Facebook. Coach him up. Check it out. He's got some good gear, too. Check out that gear. Really good-looking gear. Anyway, what else is going on? Oh, 83 weeks. Come on. How many of you have read online? My new podcast kicking off sometime in April. We'll be making an announcement soon. And the way you can find out immediately is to go to @83weeks on Twitter, follow us, and as soon as we make up our minds exactly when we're going to launch our first podcast in April, it will happen in April, you will be the first to know. The Twitter page just launched late last night, late in the evening. And last time I looked, we were close to 3,000 followers already. So let's see if we can hit 5,000 tonight. I want to be optimistic. I'm not a glass half full kind of guy. I'm a glass overflowing kind of guy. So do me a favor. Go to Twitter. Just go to @83weeks. Follow us. Give us your support. Anyway, I'm out for now. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.